professional.
Can we talk about how the Quran mistakes Holy Miriam to Miriam in the Old Testament, Moses' sister? Yeah. So,
I
yes.
I talked about that very, very extensively. I made a video on that. That is actually I made two videos on that. One is called
Go ahead and share that for people who want to
one
check it out afterwards.
is called One Mistake Destroys Islam or something like
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about right now, the author of the Quran doesn't know that Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a different Mary from Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, treats them as the same person. And so, um, in other words, the Quran calls Mary, the mother of Jesus, the sister of Aaron, even though that's a different Mary. Their name in Arabic is the same, and Muhammad thinks they're the same person, and Allah thinks they're the same person. And they even have like when Mary is in the Quran is the daughter of Imran. That's
yes.
Imran is the father of, or Amram in Hebrew, Imran, but Imran in Arabic is the father of Moses and Aaron and Miriam. And so, yeah, you kind of got a problem of Allah not realizing these people are separated by like 14 centuries, two different Marys.
Yeah, yeah.
And Muslims have
And
to come up with all kinds of rules. If you say, "Wait, why is she called sister of Aaron?" They have to say, "Oh, because it was common to say sister of some famous person." Like, okay, show me that. Show us that. If that's a thing, if that's an ordinary thing, you should be able to show us all kinds of examples of that. They can't because they're making it up. It's like when they say that Mahmadim in Song of Solomon 5:16 is the plural of respect. There's no plural of respect. They're making it up to justify something.
Okay, so again, we can see that David Wood fails at biblical history, or he's just ignorant, or he just doesn't want to be consistent with the Quran and the Bible. David Wood doesn't understand. Now, you heard David Wood's argument against the Quran. He says the Quran's an error when it says Mary is a sister of Aaron. What David Wood doesn't seem to understand, unless you have like a hammer to his head, is that Mary was a descendant of Aaron, and that is what the Quran is talking about. The Quran is not saying that Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a biological sister of Aaron, which I'll get into right now. The priest class in Jewish history were the descendants of Levi, and in Exodus 28, it indicates that Aaron's lineage would continue this role. So, again, if you read the Old Testament, if you read like 2 Chronicles, etc., it says, so-and-so is the sons of Aaron. But how can it be when, 2 Chronicles, the people mentioned in 2 Chronicles lived hundreds of years, or, 1,000 years after Aaron? The simple explanation is that these people mentioned in 2 Chronicles that are sons of Aaron are descendants of Aaron, not a literal biological son. Additionally, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5 to 45, records that Zechariah and Elizabeth, the cousin of Mary, and therefore their son John the Baptist, were all descendants of Aaron. So if you read the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5 to 45, it says, or the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5, it says that Elizabeth was a daughter of Aaron. But using David Wood's logic, how could that be when Elizabeth was born thousands of years after Aaron, the brother of Moses? The simple explanation for this is that the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5, is talking about an ancestral link, or a genealogical link between Aaron and Elizabeth, not a literal descent, not like a literal biological father-daughter descent. From this, it could imply that Mary, the mother of Jesus, could also be a descendant of Aaron, which I'll get into in the next slide. It says that Elizabeth, according to the Gospel of Luke, Elizabeth was a descendant or a daughter of Aaron in Luke chapter 1, verse 5. Luke chapter 1, verse 5 says that Elizabeth was from the daughters of Aaron. Now, using David Wood logic, we could say that the writer of the Gospel of Luke made a mistake, or he didn't know that Aaron and Elizabeth are separated by 1,000 years. So, using David Wood's logic, we can say, well, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5, the writer of the Gospel of Luke made a mistake, or he didn't know, he was ignorant about, he was ignorant about the lineage of Moses and Aaron, since he made a mistake because Aaron never had a daughter named Elizabeth, since Elizabeth comes from New Testament times and Aaron comes from Old Testament times, and there's a 1,000-year difference, or there's a 1,000-year gap between the two. So you see how we can flip this argument back at the New Testament, but we're just going to let the New Testament, or we're going to let biblical history explain what the Quran and the New Testament mean by daughters of Aaron right now. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is said to be a relative of Elizabeth in Luke chapter 1, verse 36. Thus, if Mary is a relative of Elizabeth in the Gospel of Luke chapter 1, verse 36, then Mary too is a descendant of Aaron, and that is what the Quran is talking about by saying Mary is a sister of Aaron. So you see, the Gospel of Luke connects Mary and Elizabeth as relatives or cousins. So if Elizabeth is called the daughter of Aaron, then Mary too is from the same genealogical link of Aaron. So when the Quran says sister of Aaron, it's repeating the genealogical link that the Gospel of Luke makes between Elizabeth, Mary, and Aaron, when it says Elizabeth is a daughter of Aaron and the Virgin Mary is a relative of Elizabeth. So the Virgin Mary also is a daughter of Aaron, or a sister of Aaron, as the Quran talks about. The New Testament uses the term son of this important Old Testament prophet, priest, figure to refer to someone's genealogical link to an Old Testament figure. I'll give you an example of this. For example, Jesus is referred to as the son of David, but we know that David and Jesus are separated by, hundreds of years. So how can Jesus be the son of David when David never had a son named Jesus? So you see, so Jesus is called the son of David in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, Luke chapter 18, verse 38, Mark chapter 10, verse 45, Mark chapter 10, verse 47 to 48. So the New Testament uses the term son of this person. The New Testament says that Jesus is the son of David. But we know for a fact that David and Jesus were not in the same time period. David lived, I believe, about 600 years before Jesus or something like that. But my point is that Jesus is not the literal son of David. So when the New Testament says that Jesus is the son of David, it's talking about it's talking about a genealogical link, or a ancestral link between David and Jesus. So, the New Testament says, David is the son of, Abraham, but we know that Abraham never had a son named Jesus, or Abraham never had a son named David, and David never had a father named Abraham. So if we could just, if you can read this in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. So if we just let the New Testament, or if we let biblical history speak for itself, we can see that when the New Testament says, Jesus is the son of David, or David is the son of Abraham, etc., it's just talking about the genealogical link. It's not talking about like a biological link. So why can't the same be granted with the Quran, or why can't the same logic be granted with the Quran. Conclusion. In Hebrew, the sons of, and son of may refer to family relationships over many generations. The expression Jesus is the son of David indicates that there was a family relationship or genealogical link between King David and Jesus. This does not necessarily mean that David was the biological father of Jesus. Same logic with the Quran. The expression Mary, sister of Aaron, indicates that there was a family relationship between Aaron and Mary, not a biological sister relationship between the two. Thus, David Wood yet again fails in biblical history, logic, and reasoning. Stay tuned, more videos coming up ahead.